What's up, boys? We are back. Episode what, Dad? What episode is it?
I've lost track of it. We're
We've
deep
done so
into
many.
it.
We've done so many.
We have. Yeah.
No, it's the truth is we haven't done enough.
No.
We should have done more.
Yeah. Well, I just know it's 2022. That's all I can say for sure.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good to look back on this year and be like, damn, 2022, dude. Isn't it? Is it ever weird how that you're so a little ancient?
Yeah.
No offense, but just
No. It's
like
good.
looking back. I mean, like we were just talking the other day. Jesus Christ, bro, long ass life.
Long ass life. Yeah.
Long ass life. What's it been like, Dad? I know it's hard to answer the question of like what's been the best part. So I'm gonna ask, what's been like the best 10 years? Like the 10-year period, like the 1980s, the 1960s, like what?
I get it that anybody would want to know that. I think the earlier years always sort of glow more brightly. It doesn't mean the later years are not good. But when things are in the distance for us, we look back on them a little more fondly. There's people in that situation back then that are gone now, or, we were younger and healthier and, had more hair, whatever. But they're all good decades, okay? But I think the ones that seem most sweet in a way are the early ones. Yeah.
I think most people will agree with you. I think youth is something that's so awesome a part of life. And as you get older, you look back on those times, but like still like, I don't know. I was talking to a substitute the other day in our school, Dr. Joya. He's from South Africa. I think you know him.
Yeah, I met him.
A white guy. He's chill.
Yeah.
And no. He's very cool. And he was, I think, 4 years older than you. I think he was born in what year were you born? 53?
Yeah.
I think he was born in 1950.
Oh,
I think
okay.
he said so. And he was just talking about how Beatlemania, stuff like that.
Sure.
And since he was in South Africa, he never had to go through like a draft.
Ah.
So I told him like I know a big part of your life. The scariest moment that I feel like it may have been for you, that you've told me at least, was like the draft. Maybe it wasn't the scariest for you, but it was like I don't want to do that shit. I mean, like, bruh, like, if you got these TikTok kids going to the draft, bro, they'd all fucking die.
You might be surprised. People rally. People you don't expect to bring it, bring it.
So you think the TikTokers, like the TikTok guys with like their chains and their painted nails, do you think that they could like slay some Vietnamese?
I think that they would bring more than would be expected. The movies all make the most of like the weakest link, solving the crisis. And I think life's a lot like that too. The smallest player has a big influence. So a lot of them would not make it, of course, but...
Would that be a bad thing?
Oh, I don't know, good or bad about it.
Well, they're TikTokers, so it's like...
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, I think one of these little things you could get on YouTube that you could do would be to do some of these TikTok dances.
Oh.
You could throw down some little whips, some little nanas, you know what I mean?
Huh. Well, maybe so. Yeah.
I think you should.
Haha.
I think people would like that.
I don't know about that, but dance has never been my strong suit, but I do have a few fond memories of it, so maybe I could bring it back,
Yeah, you could bring the nene back. You could do something like that.
Yeah.
I know that we were looking at this thing that you could go do classes for, where it was dancing.
Uh-huh.
Bruh, no. You tripping if you think I'm doing dancing lessons. I don't know if it's like I'm not insecure, but just like a little like against it for whatever reason. I mean, I am against it, but just like I don't want to go out and fucking salsa dance. I don't know if it's because I'm a teenager or whatever, but it's like I don't want to go take salsa dance lessons. That shit's weird, bruh.
Here's the thing about that. It's self-consciousness is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what I've experienced is as you get better at something, it changes for you.
Yeah, but it's like,
Yeah.
who fucking cares about salsa dancing?
Well, not now. you wouldn't. But let's say you were with the right girl and it was the right moment and you felt it and the teacher said, you're really making a lot of progress. You might find yourself kicking it into gear and going, hey, I kind of like this.
Hmm.
I'm not saying you would, but it's possible. You know,
Hmm.
we like things we're sort of good at.
I think that's true.
Yeah. And so, and it's natural to fear the things we don't know. I mean, I think that's kind of natural. I know there's people who don't, but I
It's like
just think
death.
we're supposed to be a little mortified of how we look doing something when we're not good at it, you know? So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think being scared of something that you're not good at is like a big
Yeah.
issue. Not a big issue, but just not like it's a bad thing. It's just like it's a big thing a lot of people run into.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, oh, I don't want to go do this because I'm like scared of like failure. But it's like, bro, well, I feel like once you not get over it, but just realize that like failure is like part of life.
Oh,
You know,
100%.
you can't avoid it. You know, nothing's gonna be perfect. Might as well go do it.
Yeah.
There's your key to life, baby.
Well, it's a
Part of
huge
it, at
it's a
least.
huge key. And the thing about it is it's just words when someone says that, but when you're in it
Hmm.
and you're failing, not doing well, whatever it is, um, it's not going to be very comforting for somebody to say, "Hey, you're succeeding now because you're failing because
I
you're."
think failing is succeeding, in a sense.
Well, I think we have to throw ourselves at things, and it's super unlikely we're going to throw ourselves at something and be really good at it. So when we throw ourselves at something and we're not good at it, it doesn't have to be a miserable failure, but we're not good at it. It does mean we're in the game. It's a good thing. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
And I also think that failing something because you want to do something like, for example, speak Spanish, and which I've been trying to do, which is like a big thing. I feel like not to like anybody else. It's just like a big thing to me, I guess. Not saying that it's like important or like it's up on some hierarchy, but it's like I just value it,
mm,
and and I'm weak. I might not, but like right now, I like want to do it.
mm.
And it's like when I go and try and speak to people who speak Spanish, like you fucking fail, bruh. Like you sound like a dumb ass, and it's really easy to like fall into that trap of like,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, it sounds so crazy saying it out loud, but it's like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't like do this. But like I don't think like that at all, because it's like failing is a part of it. And
Mm-hmm.
like people who speak English, I mean, like we fail with English sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like and plus you've learned when you try to learn a language that like what you say, like you don't always speak in like fluid sentences.
No.
You know, like right now, like it's been happened already, like in this conversation, like you go one way and then you go the other and then you go under and you go, and just like language learning is cool, but like the bigger picture of what I'm trying to say is that like failing is part of anything you do. So you might as well like get good at like learning how to fail,
Right.
you know?
Right. Well, it's about communicating, not
Hmm.
being flawless at the presentation.
Uh-huh.
Sure, we want to be flawless at the presentation, but the truth is, it's about communicating, and that's the main thing. You have to kind of put yourself in the other person's shoes. You've probably been somewhere where somebody who doesn't speak English makes an effort to communicate,
Yeah.
and they stumble around, and maybe they misspeak, but you don't bust their chops about it.
Oh, fuck no, you credit them. You're like, damn, good
Well,
job.
the inverse would be the same. So if you were in Greece and you had like 37 words in Greek, they're not going to bust your chops. They're going to kind of give you props for trying to talk to them.
Yeah.
That's what you got to remember. People aren't out to really be hard on you. We're hard on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. We're our biggest like
Yeah.
enemy, I think, and that means.
Hmm.
But I went to summer camp, as you know, but just the people who may be watching, like my friends, which I
Yeah.
found out about the podcast. The boys found out about the
Oh,
podcast,
okay. All right. All right.
as you already know. But just like and we'll get into that in a second. But I went to summer camp for 4 years. 3 of
Uh-huh.
those 4, as you know, I mean, you paid for a month. A month at a time, no phone, 30 days, no phone. Big influence on my life, I think.
Sure.
It maybe doesn't like, it is a big influence on my life for sure.
Oh, huge.
But we had this kid there the first year. I don't know, maybe I was like 11 when I went there.
Maybe.
I'm 16, almost 17. So
Yeah.
it's like, maybe I was 10.
Hmm.
But there was this kid from Korea there,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and he spoke in just like total Chinese accent, broken English, whatever. But he tried to speak in English, and so we were friends with him, you know. But if he just sat there and didn't try, and he didn't know that much English, like he was a crazy kid, and if he knew how to speak English, oh my gosh, I know he would have been saying some funny stuff. But he tried to speak,
Yeah.
which is the big thing.
Yeah.
So like and as he went on in the 2 weeks, because it was a session, the first year I only went for 2 weeks. Yeah, he didn't know how to speak it, but then he learned how to communicate better. It wasn't good, but better. And he was just one of the boys, you know? He
Sure.
was just part of it. He was a big
Sure.
part of it. He played a trumpet a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, a very sad thing, he had to get sent home, not because he was being a bad kid. He was just very homesick.
Ah.
So now looking back on it, I'm acting like he's more of a friend than he was. He was actually kind of weird now that I think about it. So sorry. We were on the overnight,
Ah.
which was like a hike. And a lot of these kids in summer camp, they were from California.
Yeah.
Well, because we lived in California at that time, but from like the inner cities.
Mm-hmm.
So they were inner city kids. Like they were very used to like city life, and like camping to them was like outside of their normal way of thinking,
Well, certainly.
you know? So like, you get it. Like they just were surrounded by stores, fast food, blah, blah, blah. Not saying that everybody who lives in a city is like that, but like a vast majority of them don't have access to like the great outdoors 24/7 like I have. And so we're on this overnight, and I think, bro, what was this? What happened? He started like having like a night terror.
Mm.
So like he was screaming in like Korean,
Mm.
and like the few American like curse words that he knew he was saying, and just like total just out of like Family Guy Chinese accent.
Huh. Crazy.
And the camp counselor had to come over and like not like rock him like a baby, but just like very like put him down, let him sleep.
Sure. Try to comfort him.
And I was like, dude, you're like 10 years old or 11, whatever. I'm like, you need to like be able to fucking go to sleep by yourself. And he also played trumpet,
Mm.
and like not good.
Mm-hmm.
So he couldn't speak English, which was like not his fault. And then he's played trumpet, and then he would just kind of do whatever he wanted to do. So it was like a fun experience, though.
Well,
We were glad he was gone, though.
Oh, I have a feeling it was not a fun experience for him.
No,
And
awful.
and you know, it'd be interesting to have a conversation or an email or something with the kid and see what his memories of it were.
I bet he's still a pussy, bro. Honestly,
Well, what I'm trying to say is
no offense, bro. If you're
he
watching,
may not have had a terrible time, and then again, it may now have morphed into more of an adventure, which is what happens for all of us
yeah,
when time goes by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we've got to be kind to ourselves and to others as we can. I know we're going to not do that perfectly, but people trying and us trying, it's really what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the people that don't even bring any effort that, that's the ones I really get down on. So that's just me, but
Shout out to him, though. I'm looking back on it, and I know I'm like,
Yeah.
he's a pussy, which he kind of was. But like, I mean, if I couldn't speak a language, like if I was in Korea,
Yeah.
for example, where he's
Okay.
from,
yeah.
and like I knew a few Korean words, and he knew some, like to get around enough to like point out what he wanted. But if I was like that, and like, bro, and especially against that, then I was kind of like a pussy a little bit. Like
Sure.
I was kind of scared about
Yeah.
shit sometimes, and like whatever. And I mean, you are 11 or 10, so it's like, yeah, I could have been like him,
You may have been.
and it's likely that I would have.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like this thing we were talking about yesterday about, the time that you're alive, the situation that you're in. We were talking about, the racist South the other day,
Yeah.
about how a lot of people white people were just like racist, and some of them, like a lot of them today wouldn't be racist, but it's because everybody around them was racist, and they like gave in to that way of thinking because it was just normal,
Yeah.
like whites are above, like, oh, I'm white, like I'm gonna, be powerful, and back in the day. And it's very easy for people who like live now to be like, that's so fucked up. But like vast majority of people, if they now who like are super against it, like were lived during that time, they'd be the same fucking way. So
Well, I think what's really clear is we inherit the state of mind.
environmental, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think we really pick up from our parents and the people we live with, and certainly siblings and pals and schoolmates and all that. We emulate them. We want to be like them. We want to fit in. That's all. So if somebody uses certain curse words, we use those curse words.
yeah,
We just simply imitate each other. But what happens is after a few years of that, we start to sound a lot like these people. And if they're not really people that you're overly proud of, yeah, that's the thing you have to worry about. You kind of can become like other people in a negative way, or you might be around people who encourage you to be better, and you become that way. So we're not born, I don't think, good or bad so much. I think we pick all that stuff up.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
I think the people who you're around, it makes who you are. So you want like the best people around you. When you have shitty friends, you turn into a shitty person. And it's like you don't feel that way when you're in it.
mm,
You know, you're doing fuck shit just to do it. It doesn't matter.
mm,
But like you turn into that person,
mm.
you know. And about that race thing, like it's just like an interesting thing to think about how 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 something bad racism, like how something bad like racism, everybody fell into it. But then now like everybody falls into the good things. But when something bad comes back around, or like how we're maybe doing right now with like LGBTQ, and it wasn't as bad as like racism, but it's like, you know, in 60 years, I think it's going to be crazy about how that like people from like 20 years ago didn't really like accept gay people, but maybe like 40 years ago they didn't accept them, or like how gay marriage was just changed less than 10 years ago. How about now it's legal? Like in 40 years it's going to be like crazy, like how could we ever have thought that?
Yeah.
But you know, but then there'll be something then that's like, you know, on the verge, and then 40 years from then it'll be something else. So it's like time and group thinking and just the normalization of things change,
Oh, 100%.
you know.
100%. No, we're all in this together, and we're of our time. And you're going to have the same experience that I do, or other people do who are even older than me. When they look back, people are going to say, how could you be that way, wear those clothes, drive that car, do that thing, think that way? But when you're of a time, you have no choice. That's just how you are. Um, this is one of the real keys, though. I believe, and others believe that I've known well, we're supposed to evolve. Okay, we're supposed to evolve. I mean, I don't mean just like, you know, some kind of Darwinian thing, but our thinking is supposed to change over time as we learn more, as we know ourselves better, and that's the real success. The real drag is when someone doesn't change. They don't change at all. The way they were at 20 is the way they are at 80. That's a drag, because a lot of stuff happens, and you know, your eyes are open to different ways of thinking and points of view and stuff. And I think we're supposed to evolve. I don't mean give up who you are. I just mean start to see things differently than you did before, when you were naive and young and everything. That's all. I mean, I think that's what, if I can tell you to do anything, it would just be keep your mind open and, you know, accept the fact you're going to evolve. You know, don't be ashamed of who you were. It's just, that's who you were at that time, you know. You know, that was a path that you went down to get to where you are now.
Yeah, I was just talking to my friends the other day who I haven't talked to in a bit, from California. And, you know, I find them, it might be because of how they view life, the fact that I don't talk to them a lot, the normalcy of talking about the past where they live. And I mean that, like, in the sense of whenever I talk to them, you know, as a group, they always bring up the past, the funny moments, and also the moments that, you know, I'm not so proud of, how I acted, what I posted, blah, blah, blah. And so here, when I'm just by myself, I don't think about those things because I don't have to.
Yeah.
But then when you talk to some of the people, you're reminded about the past, and they were making me remember it.
Hey, this is one reason I don't like to go deal with people from my past too much. It can be fun.
Yeah.
It can be fun, particularly if it's a really close friend. You hadn't seen him in a long time. Of course, that's wonderful. That's one of the joys of living. But to go back and talk to neighbors and friends and schoolmates who are still maybe very similar to the way they were, I don't think that is fun. I think it's something about it is it's not just looking back fondly. It's looking back maybe with a little bit of embarrassment, like, God,
Yeah.
you were my friend. We did that. I mean, I'm not, I own it, but wow, I don't really want to. I don't really want to do that again.
Yeah. You have to own your past. You don't have to be proud of it, but like that, all that stuff, I am not proud of what I did in some situations, or like what I said or how I acted, but just like I own it because that was part of me.
Sure.
And it's now I learned from it.
Yeah.
But I don't like talking to those people all the time. And like some of them I really enjoy, like the ones who I actually like I would play with. But like when it's a group of them where like I talk to some of them, talk to others, and I wasn't like I'm still like great friends with like one or two of them, but like the rest of them, like I'm not.
Sure.
Like I'll still talk to them. I still like them. But like when somebody brings to the past or like, damn, do you remember you did that? I was like, yeah, but just like you've said that every single time I talk to you, like I don't want to talk to you about that anymore. It's not like I think about it or super embarrassed by it or like not proud of it. It's it's me, but like my thinking has changed now, and I've already said that, and I don't need to talk about it anymore.
Sure.
Like that's just such a shitty mindset to have. To like, Dad, when you were 20, do you remember when you went and XYZ, and it's fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't see you that way anymore, and I feel like they still see me like that sometimes. So it's like I don't want to be
I think
seen
that's
like
a good
that
point.
at all.
I think that's a good point, and that may be why I felt what I felt when I said I don't really like to go back and revisit those people too much. It's like that Bruce Springsteen song about glory days. He bumps into a friend who's still talking about when they were playing football or whatever, and he's still talking about high school, and there's nothing wrong with talking about high school. It's just that he's way beyond it.
Yeah.
So when he goes back to the guy, he looks at him with a little bit of pity, a little bit in the song. That's how it comes through. Like, God, you're still reliving those old memories, and there's not a damn thing wrong with it. It's just that kind of holds me back from moving forward. See, this is how I feel about it. It kind of holds me back from moving forward. And so
Make sure you're talking to the mic because you're getting off to the left.
And so, that's the thing. You want to keep evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I do feel a little bit of pity towards some of them. Not pity. It's not like I'm a fucking cunt. It's like I'm just like I feel sorry for that way of thinking because like I don't know. I'm so thankful that I've moved, and like so thankful that like I've had these life experiences, so I don't have to like be surrounded by those people. Because if I was surrounded by them still, talking about, oh my God, you remember? You could never go fucking forward. You could never go forward.
Well, you might.
No, you could, but like it's so incredibly hard to do. You just fall into your role, man.
Yeah.
So like, oh my gosh, I'm just thankful I moved, and it doesn't like affect me. It doesn't have any power over me that I've done those things, but just like talking to those people, you don't want to do, because it's not gonna put you down or like make you think the real version about yourself. It's just like you don't need to just like relive a bad memory over and over again, doing it by yourself. You don't need to do that.
No.
It's not like it has any power over you. You look at it, you understand it, and you put it back where it needs to be, and then just continue to move on like a fucking G,
Mm-hmm. Well, when you study or read about other people, famous people or authors, anybody who, I don't know, just important people, and you read their biographies, pretty much all the ones I can possibly think of, they move on from their hometowns. They go have adventures and jobs and marriages and experiences. It's not that they hate their hometown, but they kind of need to move on to live. There are those that don't move, but I don't read about many of those. So I think it's an adventure. We're supposed to like we're supposed to move. We're supposed to like come and go a little bit. I mean, it may not have to be that way for everybody, of course, but
Yeah, you are not your past. You are you.
that's
You
right.
know, you right now. You are not your past.
Yeah,
So, but then it's, I say that and I live by that. Like, so if I met somebody and know that their past was like a little fucked up, maybe they did a little bit of drugs, maybe they did whatever. I'm not gonna judge that person for their past choices. I'm gonna judge for them how they act right now.
yeah,
If they're still like, yo, let's go do this drugs with me, like, this is, I'd say no, and I judge them for that reason. But if they're like, yeah, that was a time, I don't really like talking about that. I'm sober now. I see it. I don't want to go back to that. I have no desire. Then goddamn, like, you're awesome for saying that. You're awesome that like, you have
sure,
changed, and you have to give everybody when you meet them, whether you've heard jack shit about or like whether you've heard bad shit or good shit. You have to make your own decision of somebody
sure,
that's your own, not influenced by anyone else. And even if they're really, really good or they're really, really bad, you yourself has the best ability to judge someone else.
I think that's well said. Yeah,
Yeah. Um,
yeah,
another kind of thing about this was I was playing golf probably like 4 months ago, and me and Travis, one of the guys I go with, who's a G, I really like him. He's we're at this hole and we were just swinging away, doing whatever, and this guy comes up, he's like, I need some high schooler boys to paint this basement for me. You're like, paint his house. It wasn't like a weird basement story, but it was just like, whatever. And then he just would not shut the fuck up about his high school days. And he was probably like 10 years younger than you. So he's probably like 55, 58. But he just would not be quiet about how when he was in high school, his team, Neocani, destroyed whatever it was called, destroyed a jewel or whatever. And it's like, I don't care, dude. I'm not caring.
Well, see, that's that example of somebody who's still cooking the past and getting something out of it. They're stuck. No, you can reflect back and reminisce.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're constantly doing that, I think you're stuck. Yeah, that's what I think. It's and again, it's a little sad, kind of.
I think it's a little sad. I feel sorry
Because
for
he
the guy.
didn't know you. It wasn't as if he's reminiscing about it with
It
the
wasn't
guy
like
who
you
was
were
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
It's
anyway.
like when somebody says that, I think I know that they think that like, oh, these high schooler boys are gonna like me because I was this shit.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you were. Now you are completely the opposite. I mean, the worst thing is
Sure.
being like homeless or something, but it's just like, come on, bro, like how? But new subject. Let's move
Yeah.
on.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying.
You said something earlier about facial hair.
Did I?
I think some. I think so, or something like that. But I had that written down because I actually wanted to talk about that with you.
Okay. Okay.
And I think I wish I could grow. I wish
Oh.
I could. I wish I could have a mustache like you.
Well, it'll come.
Yeah. How old were you when you could grow it out like you have now?
You know, I was in my 20s.
25, 22?
Late 20s.
Really?
It's not that I couldn't have grown it before, but it would have been kind of thin. Yeah. So, but it's not the same for everybody. You might find that for you it's different, but in my 20s and then certainly by 30.
Well, yeah. I have to shave probably twice a week.
Okay. Well,
Like,
it's just going to increase. That's just the way it is with most guys that I know, you know. But it's kind of fun to to deal with it. You know, it's just one of those things, you know. Some guys have better
hygiene.
No, it's not. I'll start to say some guys, you know, grow facial hair better than others. That's all. Some
I think
guys, it's
that's
just
true.
super thin, and it doesn't matter how long they leave it. It doesn't look that good, you know.
Well, some kids in high school that I know, there's a kid named Grayson. He like can grow a fucking beard, bro.
Yeah.
And there's a freshman who can grow a beard.
Yeah.
And he looks dumb as shit. No offense, but just like it looks bad. But
Sure.
he can though.
Amazing. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, even though it looks bad, man, I'm kind of jealous a little bit, you know.
haha. Yeah.
But I
Well, it's just the genes you're born with, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Did your dad have a mustache all of his life?
No, he never had facial hair that I can remember.
Could he just not grow any,
No, he
or
could. He just chose to be clean shaven. He came from a time when that's just the way it was, and then he was in the Air Force, and then he was just kind of a clean cut fella, and then I think you go long enough, you just, I don't know, you just you just don't you miss that opportunity to do it somehow.
yeah,
Unless
sure.
your wife or girlfriend or partner says, "Hey, I really want you to." Well, then you might grow it out.
Talking about like a wife and partner. I don't know what just sparked me to remember this, but dude, we were having this conversation the other day, me, you, Espen, Jordan, about tattoos, and Peyton. I think she was there. Tattoos,
Oh yeah.
man.
Oh yeah.
But you can't even get started on tattoos, can you? You hate them.
No, I don't hate them.
No, you can't change. You hate them.
No, I don't.
That's cap.
No, I don't hate them. I like reading about them when I'm reading about, like some ancient time, like, Moby Dick type times where, the whaler has these tattoos and, and people come back from the Navy and, the South Seas with a tattoo of, their girlfriend on their arm and all this stuff. No, I don't hate tattoos. I think it's very interesting.
I
Yeah.
think the concept of them like tribal, not like tribal like designs, but like as in like your experiences where you've been, like the sailor thing, like that's pretty damn cool.
Well,
You know,
see,
you
but
get tatted, like
that's like a mark of where you've been. It's part of your experience.
uh-huh.
To just go to some tattoo shop and have somebody tattoo you, and you're 14 years old, okay? You have had no experience to speak of, okay? So you're just getting decorations on your body. Nothing's wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But that's what I don't like. It's like you kind of don't deserve a tattoo. You're too young. I'm sorry, that may have been a little
No,
harshly
no, no, no,
put.
no. I think
But
you're right.
I just mean,
It's stupid.
you need to live a while, and then it sort of makes more sense, kind of. I mean, you got the name of your loved one, or I don't know, just something, But to just go out and put, pictures of serpents on your arm as you're basically a bartender at 21 in some crappy bar in, I don't know, Spokane, Washington. It's like, okay, that's okay. You're just decorating yourself. That's fine. I get it. It's legal. You can do it. I just don't think it looks good, and I ain't into it.
So you don't want to get like your head like tatted like a little spiral.
Oh,
like
that's
a,
funny. Yeah, you're very funny.
I don't know. I think it look good, man.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
I think going back to tattoo, like the hands, like you have to have some fucking life story, some cool life story to get your hands done. And your neck. The stupidest thing that I've ever fucking seen with tattoos is when all their hands are covered, as well as their neck, but nothing else.
Uh-huh.
It's like I feel like you gotta kind of earn tattoos, and I think that's like kind of like the old style way of thinking. But like you can't just have like a. I mean, you can do whatever the fuck you want. But like some like sun right here that just like I saw the sun. I was 18. Just looked nice. It's
No,
like,
no, it's
dude.
completely fine. It's up to everybody. But I'm telling you, dude, listen, this is the voice of experience here. Once they're on, they're on. So it's a big decision to make. Oh, obviously, if it's really small and it's in a place that doesn't show, then it's completely different. But you start doing it where it shows, it's there for the rest of your life, man. And then it's creepy. That's really the only word for it. To see some old lady or old guy with a whole bunch of tattoos that were put on like 50 years ago. Unless they were, some harpoonist or whatever from, whaling days. But I mean, you're
What do you
like,
mean?
man, what is all that stuff on you? It's like, oh yeah, well, I don't know. It's just kind of like, it looks bad, it looks real bad. And there are examples of tattoos that look really good, and there's no question about it. And
I think some of them can look really, really cool.
no question about that. Yeah, they can.
But I think the stupidest thing is getting your hands done when you haven't had some kind of experience. Like if you're some tattoo artist, some guy or girl, and you get these, and your not entire body's covered, but you have a few, and you've been doing it for 20, 30 years. And then you get some like thing on your hands and fingers, and it's like, that's your life, then like, then there's no problem with it. I mean, because that's what you do, You're probably established, you probably are good at giving tattoos, you probably do XYZ, but it's like, then you earn it. You earned that.
Yeah.
But like, being 18 and getting your like, especially a face tattoo, it's like, bro, I feel sorry for them that they're that dumb.
Well, again, it's a generational thing. I just think hand tattoos, knuckles, it means you've been in prison, okay? It means you've been locked up and you got nothing to do. You got a big pen, you got a needle, you're just marking yourselves up, I hate, cops, or, whatever it is. And you go, well, no, mine is a flower and a, peace sign and a, I know, but it still comes across, if someone just glances at you, as like
Thug-like.
It's not good. Thug-like, sure, thug-like.
I also think you're a little wrong in as well, because like, just because somebody has hand tattoos doesn't mean that they've been in prison.
I know that,
but I get what you're saying, and I think you think that because of your age, like you just said, generationally.
my generation.
But like now, dude, I could be on Apple support, right? And somebody's working from home, and I don't see them. I'm not going into the Apple store, and they could be decked out in tattoos.
Of course.
And they could be the nicest fucking
Nobody
person,
sees you. It's fine.
But even if people did, like if I went up to like some like law firm wanting to get a loan, and some guy, like very presentable guy, was sitting there, and he had a hand tattoo or something, but he was nice, you can't think about all people with hand tattoos are like jerks.
Of course not.
And he was nice, I would not judge him because he had it.
No.
But if he had it and he was like a dick and like rough as shit, and like, it's like, okay, well then I judge you, but I judge you even if you didn't have hand tattoos as well. So it's like,
I get it, and totally, I know I'm not in sync with the current thinking on tattoos. I know that. I'm aware of that. I'm a dinosaur about this. I get it, But from where I come from, unless the girl is really good looking and has some really tasteful small tattoo, it's like, then I'm like all over it. It's like, looks awesome. It's great, Even a guy can have a small tattoo and it looks good. But it's when it gets so big, particularly face, neck, hands. Yeah, I'm out of there on that one. I'm like, I don't care what you say. I'm just not into it. I mean, if it's your business, okay. But I mean, I'm not into it.
see, I think I am into it when it like looks good. Like if something has good taste, and I think it especially looks good on like 20-year-old girls or something, when it's like a back thing. Like I saw this one girl's on Instagram, her back was like a kind of like what are those like chandeliers called? Like, oh, well, chandelier, but it was like a little bead down and then like a line across, and then there was planets coming down to like the middle of her back, and like they were colored, and like that looked fucking cool.
Sure.
And it looked good on her. Like it made her like look beautiful.
I get it. But two things: she ain't gonna stay 20 long. Two, the colors were not gonna last forever.
Yeah, no, you're right. So for the next 10 years, they'll look good, but once she gets old, this will be like...
But see, I know, but see, 10 years, that seems like a long time to you, but...
No,
man, when you think about somebody living to 80 or something, that means most of the time it no longer looks good.
It's funny to see like those really old women with like tramp stamps.
No, it's not funny. It's pathetic, really.
It's kind of funny.
It's sad.
It's kind of... I don't think it's sad. I mean... And I don't think that a lot of them feel bad because of it either. I think it's just their life.
Hey, no. Hey, look. I'm not putting them down if it sounded like it. I'm just saying I think it doesn't look good. How about that? I just don't think it looks good. So,
well, I think everybody's going to agree with you that it doesn't look good, but
yeah.
Depends,
Each to their own. It's not all about what I think of everything that makes it valid, of course. I get that.
Yeah. And the boys,
yeah,
Keegan, Ola, Jack, Eddie, they found out about the podcast. They were over that other night after the dance, and they saw the setup, and they're like, "Damn, you've been filming any other podcasts?" And I've been kind of keeping it down low. You know how it is, cause that's just what I do. I guess I've been really open about stuff that I've done before. But the thing is, the other stuff that I've done hasn't had a background meaning like how this has. And what I mean by that is that, like, whether we're doing this podcast for nothing else, besides me and you making memories,
Yeah.
and me and you do something fun, so that in life I can look back on it and see a thing of us,
Well, yeah.
which is like a great reason. It's not about viewers, it's not about subs, it's not about anything else except that. If that happens, good. If it doesn't, good too. It's the same. I feel the same way about it.
Well, that's good.
And when they found out about it, Espen said the name, the age gap, and somehow he knew, because 3 months ago when we started, or 4 months ago when we came up with this concept, it was like, that's what we're gonna name it. I told Espen, help me out with the name, blah blah blah. That's what I said. I'm like, I think I'm gonna name it that one. So fucking, I don't even know how he remembered, but he said it, and he said it without even knowing that, like, he knew. He just said, I think that's what it is, and he didn't even say I think. He just says, because Jack asked me, what's the name of it, and Espen's like, age gap, and he was like bullshitting, but like it actually was, because I actually went with that one. Anyway, they looked it up, they found it, watched some videos on it.
That's fine.
No, it is fine.
Yeah.
It is fine, because we have the reason for why we're doing it in stone. And you come around to it, because, like, what are you gonna do? You're posting on the internet, people are gonna find it. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's funny.
Yeah.
And they said, I said that we should get them on the pod. Like, so instead of you being in that seat right there, still post it to the same channel, but like just have a conversation with Espen about like sports, or like Keegan about golf, or like Jack about like video games, or something like that. And then just talk for 20, 30 minutes.
Sure.
Through however long it lasts.
Oh, I think it sounds great.
XYZ,
Yeah.
and just post it, so then they can look back on it and be like, damn. So in 20 years, when they look back on it, they can be like, yo, like, we did this shit. It's still out there. I can show my girlfriend at the time, or like in the future, Keegan, I'm thinking about Keegan, showing his girlfriend or something, that like, damn, look at this. Like, this was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's just a cool concept. It's like,
Sure.
it's not about subs, bro. It's about doing something fucking cool. And I think that this is pretty damn cool.
Well, and and then it's a snapshot of what you look like at that
How
time.
you thought.
Sure, how you spoke. Maybe it's a picture of you without any facial hair, and you had been wearing a beard for 20 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hopefully one of us doesn't, like, RIP.
Well,
Because then I'll be sad.
that would be sad. But again, for most of the people that are gone, all we have is a photograph or something, for most of us. I know some people have recordings, but I think it's good to have the, actual, language going on, and the, words, spoken words and stuff. So I wish I had more of that.
I'm
of people
so
who are
thankful.
gone.
Yeah, I'm so thankful that, like, we have the ability to record and do all this stuff, because you never had that.
No.
I mean, you have
Well,
memories.
we had a tape recorder. You had a tape recorder.
Yeah, but, like, you don't bust those things out, you know what I mean? I
No.
feel like the internet's always going to be around.
No. Well, and your tape recorder generally wasn't so great. A little crummy, little small button mic that picked up all the noise from, the wind coming through the window, and it was not good quality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
It's going to be cool, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool. Anything else been on your mind about it? Oh, I actually have a thing we can talk about.
Yeah.
A chemistry test.
Oh, yeah. What about your chemistry test?
Just school in general.
Yeah, yeah.
Just school in general.
Uh-huh.
I know that, like, I know. No, I don't know. Oh my God, it's difficult to talk about, kind of.
Yeah.
Because it's like I wrap my head around it to myself, but then when you express it, it's like difficult to express.
Yeah.
As in that, like, it's hard to transform into words. But it's like, I know how I feel, but it's hard. Okay, whatever. So chemistry test, this class I'm not a big fan of right now, because I have other interests.
Sure.
So I was talking to Nakai about this while we were playing GOLF today. I don't know why I spelled it out, but, and I was like, should you rather force yourself to do good in a class, or not give a fuck about the class and do other interests? Should I, Mom would agree. Should I conform to what everybody else thinks I should be doing, in this case, repping out this class? Or should I not do that and realize that like I value my time, my effort, and what I do more,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of people disagree and say, dude, you need to rap out this fucking chemistry. You shouldn't drop that shit. And I'm not going to drop it. I'm not going to drop it this term, but I don't think I'm going to do it next term. Because they want to think that like school is the only thing that we're supposed to be doing. It's very important. And it is important. But it's like, I don't need to follow the standards of society. Like, I live in America. Like, I can be equally as successful by, not doing it. Like, just because I don't do chemistry doesn't mean that, like, I'm a fucking failure, you know? So what do you think about that? Do you think you should rather force yourself to do a class that you don't like and see no point in doing it? Or would you rather not take the class and realize that you have a choice in life what you do and do what you want,
Well,
you know?
Sure. And most of us have been there with school or assignments, work, things that come up, volunteering for coaching or whatever it may be. You get into something, you realize it's not for you, you realize you don't like it, you don't feel you're very good at it, you're out of your depth. What do? This is a very common problem, okay? Very common problem. What I think you should do is do the best you can, finish the commitment, and just don't do it again. Don't take chemistry 2 or B or whatever. If you didn't like that assignment at work or whatever it may be, don't take another one like that. Just learn from it and go, okay, I got into this before for whatever reason. I was advised that I might like it. I thought it was the path. But I think it's better to muscle through, do the best you can, and just say, you know what, I'm going to try to avoid getting in this pickle again. And you won't. You'll get into more pickles, but you got to learn from it. But if you don't muscle through
What
over
if
and
I
over
don't muscle
again,
through
no,
over and over again?
but if you don't, a lot of people do that in relationships and all kinds of things. They start and stop all the time with things. It becomes a pattern, So I think it's better to say, okay, I'm gonna finish this. Like you were talking about going to camp. You get to camp, you realize, gee, I'm homesick. I don't really like it. I don't really like my cabin mates. Get through it. Don't go back to that camp. Don't do it. But to pick up the phone and say, hey, come pick me up, you can do that too. But I think it's better to just you'll learn something by getting through it. You will.
Yeah, but also the camp is enjoyable.
Okay, that may not be a good example.
But
yeah, that may not be a good example.
You can turn it, even if it was something that wasn't enjoyable, you could turn it both ways.
Yeah.
You could say by doing it, you're being very, what's the word? Persistent.
Yeah.
You're being very nice. You're being very hardworking by doing it. I'm glad that you're hardworking. Okay, but if you choose not to do it, you're not being hardworking. But you can also see good in not doing it. You can also be like, okay, you saw the choice by choosing to not do something that you didn't want to do. You did it, and you didn't care about if your teacher thought you should do it, if your teacher thought you were going to be a shitty worker because you didn't do chemistry. It's like, no, actually, I'm not going to be a worker. I'm going to lead my own fucking business because I make the choices that's in my life. So, you know what I'm saying?
I do.
Because I'm not going to do something that you think I should do just because everybody else in the school mindset thinks that it's good,
I do.
And that doesn't mean that I don't care about school, which like so many people think. I don't talk about this to anybody except you and whoever. But it's like, it's easy. I know people would assume that like, oh, that's so stupid of Cole. Oh, that's ignorant of Cole. It's like, no, making the choices about my life is the reason why I'm going to own a business and make choices and be at the top than be at the fucking bottom being a worker. And that doesn't mean
I understand.
I don't
I understand.
be, or like, I think a lot of people can be workers and still be very successful. And fuck, dude, I'm probably gonna be some type of worker during my life. I mean, I'm doing it right now with school. I'm gonna do it with, my job that I had. It's like, but the big scheme of things, I want to be in charge of the decisions I make. I don't want to do just. I don't want to have my life be a path of other people's things
I
that they
think that's
think is good.
I think that's a good want. I think that's a good goal. You drive it.
I drive it.
But being 16 and in high school, you have to also, I think, accept the fact there's going to be some stuff you don't want to do, and this will be over soon, and you won't be in this situation again.
But
You
don't you
won't have
think-
high school again. You will not be here again. They're not going to ask you if you want to take chemistry. And I'm just saying, it's all right to get into something now. You learn from it, okay?
But also, don't you think that it's easy to say, "Oh, you're just 16."
No.
No. You're just 16. Oh, you cannot do it. And then in 5 years, oh, you're just 21. You can do it. Oh, you're just 30. You can do it. You can do it. Oh, you're just 40. You can do it. Oh, you're just 45. Oh, no. You can't do it anymore. So why not start early? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because there's good and bads with it. So you can look at it whatever way you want to look at it.
I agree. I agree. I'm only saying my counsel is, since you're as young as you are, try to match yourself up with the things you're going to be you're going to get the most out of. And just do that. Just do that as you go forward. And then every once in a while, you're not going to match up well. And when you get in those situations, you have to just do some soul searching. Do I stay with this or do I leave it? Don't get me wrong. There's definitely times to walk away from a thing and go, this was a mistake. Oh, no, definitely. At any age. Completely. 100%. But I also think with school, there's going to be a lot of, I don't know, classes, teachers, etc. that you have to go through that to get to the other side of the degree plan or the whatever it is you're going for. And it's not all going to be fun. It's just not. So when they say you have to have so many hours of science or so many hours of a language, and you go, I really don't like this. I think you just have to suck it up and go, this is part of it, like that backpacking thing. This is the unpleasant carrying it. It's hot. Mosquitoes are biting me. I'm not digging it part. But you get to the top of that ridge. You have that view. It's night. The stars are out. But you had to go through some pain. You did. You had to go through some times you didn't really like it. And I think school or scholastic endeavors are like that to a large extent. I do. I mean, later on, it'll be less and less because you'll be making all those selections real narrowly, what you really want to do. But in the earlier days, I think it's more of a survey. You're getting exposed to a lot of things. You wouldn't expect some 7th grader to say, I'm going to pick and choose my classes. It's like, no, you're going to take all these classes. You're in the 7th grade.
Yeah.
So I know you're not in the 7th grade, but I'm just saying, you're going to get a chance to make these decisions more carefully and narrowly as you get older.
You are right.
Yeah.
And like that backpack example, though, see, I think I'm thinking of it the way I think I should thinking of it the way I might. Might think of it like the way that you're thinking of it. I think I want to think of it like that. But at the same time, I'm thinking about chemistry in a different way.
Yeah.
Because like backpacking, I've been backpacking before. And fuck, dude, I was at camp too. This is a cool little story. I was at camp and we went to go backpacking and we hiked 7 miles with our 20, 30-pound backpacks on.
Wow.
And we were just 7 miles and we get there to this spot and we're just camping out for the first night. It's a 3-night excursion. And we started to rain. And lightning and very bad rain. And we didn't bring any big, good rain gear. We had like a tent and hammocks. We were supposed to sleep in hammocks. Now we can't sleep in the hammocks. Ground's completely soaked. What are we going to do? We take our sleeping bags. We put them over our heads. We all huddle around, getting drenched. So we leave our shit there. We go back to the van without our bags on. We're like just like kind of like walking quick. 7 miles at like 2 in the morning. At like 2 in the morning we go because we realized we're not going to sleep at all. Our stuff is all soaked. We're supposed to get to this other camp tomorrow. We have to go back to the van now. You walk all the way back.
Wow.
And it sucked, right? It sucked. But also, it didn't suck at all. Like, it was such a great moment in my life. And I remember laughing about it then. Like, how is this happening? It's like today I broke a golf club by accident. The driver I showed you, because I swung, it hit the ground first, broke. It's like, that sucks, you know? But like, the first thing I did, I didn't like yell like, shit, how could that happen? I'm down $200. Like, oh, no, it's like, I looked at Nakai and we're both laughing, you know? Because it's like, it sucks. And like the same thing with the backpacking trip. I mean, like, it sucked. Like the situation that we're in, we had to hike all that way back. But like, and we definitely complained. But it definitely, I didn't feel like I was forced to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was willingly doing it with people that I liked and was like, oh my God, this story is going to be amazing to tell everybody else at the camp.
Sure.
You know? Like, oh my gosh. And I was willing and I was very happy. So when you're in a situation that you're not willing and you're not happy, it's like, that's different.
It is different.
You know, if it was at a class that I liked, like when Mr. Johnson taught math first trimester, and I really enjoyed it, and it's like, it's hard, I wouldn't even be having this conversation. It's the fact that I feel like I'm being forced to do it is the entire reason why I don't want to do it.
Hey, boy, I get that. Whew, I really get that.
You know?
Mm-hmm. And I think most of the people who listen to this podcast would get that. Nobody wants to do something they feel forced to do when they really don't like it. And most people will bail out on it if they can. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we, the collective people listening to you, agree.
Yeah.
Agree. So everything I said about sticking out, going through stuff to get to the other side, I mean that, but I also understand completely saying at some point, you know what, this ain't me. I'm out of here. And let people call you quitters, whatever. Let people, you know, whatever wrath comes your way, you'll have to just deal with it. Try to minimize that would be my choice to say to you is when you do that, because I have a feeling you're going to get a chance to do this again and again in your life, just try to minimize it, you know, and look ahead a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's very easy to say that that's quitting. Like someone else on the outside could say that that's quitting. But like by you choosing not to do something that you feel forced to do, even if it's against the grain of what people think is like what you should be doing, that's not quitting, bro. That's winning right there.
Well, it
That's
might
winning.
be opening you up to something better you need to do.
I think it's
So
a really
I
good
think I
mindset.
think that's the other side of this is when you quote quit or give up or disconnect from something you've signed up for. I think it's important to plug something else in there.
Yeah.
You may not do it that day, that week, but as soon as possible, show others and show yourself that really I'm still interested in other things. I just want to
Yeah,
get
it's not
out
like
of
you're
that.
turning off. It's just like you don't want to do
Right.
that, man.
So plug in something else. And most people will say, I get it. I get it,
Oh.
So anyway, you're doing super well. You'll continue to do super well with this. It's a struggle
so.
for all of us out there to walk this line,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a struggle, but that's life,
It
so live it how you want to live it, man.
Sure.
Live it how you want to live it. I feel bad for the people who can't, I feel so bad for the people who can't live how they want to live it, either in a bad relationship with their significant other that they can't get rid of because they have a kid, or even sometimes I see this in my teachers, that they feel forced to be there.
Yes.
Because that's what they went to school for.
Yes.
Or think about a doctor. I was talking to Nakai about this today. Think about a doctor. They're $100,000 to $200,000 in debt, and they start to be a doctor. And what if they don't like being a doctor? Dude, they kind of have to be a doctor because that's the only big career that's going to be able to get them out of that debt. They're forced to do that, unless they liked being a doctor,
I think that's very.
It sucks.
I think that's very mature of you to think about that. Most people don't think that way, but you're right.
I think it's the one thing in my life that I do not want to be forced to into something long term that I can't get out of.
Well,
Because that's just being in prison.
you could start out thinking you want to be a doctor, but pretty soon, as the classes come hot and heavy at you,
Yeah.
you're going to decide, do I like this or not like this? You're not going to get all the way through, become a doctor, all this money. That's not likely. What's going to happen is somewhere in that year or 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever, you're going to be like, you know what, this ain't me.
You know, and it happens a lot with.
And you'll have to pivot. You don't just, it's not for nothing, the stuff you learned. You become something else. You become
part of your experience.
an X-ray technician or something. You take some of what you learned and you go find another place you can put some of this. It's not a total. I don't think learning thing is a total waste. I really don't.
Me neither. I don't think so either. I think it's part of your life.
It is.
So if you learn about something and you don't use it, it's the fact that you even were in that class. Maybe it's not exactly what you learned, but it's the fact that you're in that class, the people that you met, what you learned about yourself. That's what's really important.
I think all knowledge is valuable.
And it's good having you as a dad. I've already said this because you know stuff.
Yeah.
If you were a 40-year-old dad or a 38-year-old daddy, when you're 18, like you would still be a good guy. Of course you would, but you wouldn't be the same person, the life experienced person as you are now.
No, definitely not. But I will say I probably would be very similar to how I am now. I just would have more enthusiasm. I'd look a little different. I'd be a little bit more chipper.
Yeah,
but I'd be the same person. I was kind of the same person then. We're born sort of how we are. We evolve, and if people don't step on you too bad, and life doesn't treat you too hard, however you were when you're born, you carry on a lot like that.
Really?
You really do.
'Cause I feel like I've changed so much.
You have, but your nature has been real similar.
Huh.
Of course you've changed. Of course you've changed. But what I mean by that is if you're thoughtful and maybe you're funny, maybe you like being alone more than in a big group, these traits, these feelings, they go with you the whole way, They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody who's sort of a jokester and a practical joke person and who likes to make, to laugh a lot, probably that will be the way they are their whole life.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You are right about that. Their thinking may change,
Yeah.
but like, yeah.
But you've got a good balance of things. This is the thing that's is in your favor. You have a good balance. You're not real one-sided about something. A lot of people are very one-sided. They're just very one-sided. They don't think they are, but from the outside, as you get to know them, you realize they are. But you've got your advantage will be that you can move laterally and up and down, and you can adjust to life. This is going to be a strength. This will be good. Yeah,
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I know
I think
you
we've
are.
been on here for, I think, an hour.
Okay. Well, let's sign out.
Let's sign out. But I really think we should start keep on doing this. Maybe I know I made those shorts, like those.
Oh yeah.
Which were funny, which were good. But I think it took a lot of effort, which is not a bad thing.
No.
But just like let's keep pumping out the long combos and like cutting them down to like short ones.
Okay.
But then also and then make a short one, like an edited one if we want. But if we don't, that's fine too.
Yeah.
'Cause like I said, it's about
Sure.
being able to look back on it.
It's supposed to be fun.
It is.
Okay.
All right, boys and girls, it is it.
It's
We're done.
it.
We're done with this episode. But
Okay.
sub if you're not. Actually, don't sub because it's not about subs. But
Yeah. Ha 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 ha.
later, you guys. Thank you.
Okay. Adios.